me, Vegeta. And this is Super Vegito!
What's going on, guys? Vegito here, and this is part 2 to What If Ash Woke Up on Time. As we're heading to the Orange Islands and Johto. And since we got a lot of content covered in Johto, I'm just gonna skim over the Orange Islands. Only mention the important stuff, such as captures and evolutions. As Ash arrived on Valencia Island and obtained the GS ball from Mr. Ivy. As Brock had to stay with her and be her assistant, as Professor Ivy just has to give Ash a dragon scale. After she sees that he has a Seadra. As Ash makes his way to the Orange League, as he gets more badges, but thanks to Team Rocket not being there, he doesn't catch Lapras. And since Charizard obeys him this time, he just flies to the islands, and it's on Charizard's back. But he still catches him with his iconic Snorlax, as well as catches old Kabuto, as he's sent to Oak's lab so he can study it. As well as finding a Squirrel who needs some help, and as thanks, the Squirrel will join Ash's team. As then, Ash fights Drake in the Orange League, as he has better than in Cannon, as he still becomes the Orange League champion. As then Ash tried to back at Pallet Town, leaving all his Pokemon in Oak's lab except Venusaur, Charizard, and Seadra. As Ash and Brock head out to Johto. Oh yeah, almost forgot. When Ash won the Orange League, you might have to pick up Brock. As Ash and Brock arrive in Newbark Town, as Ash still catches Heracross. As I can see having a comedic moment taking the nectar from Venusaur's flower. However, Heracross is going to stick around this time. As then Ash catches the wounded Stantler and sends to Oak's lab to get medical treatment. As then Ash is rocking her while Chikorita. But since Ash already has Venusaur, he sees no point in catching it. So he lets Brock catch it. As then Ash and Brock see a trade machine by Violet City and see a trade machine. As Ash remembers Professor Ivy saying, give me 1 second. If he gives Seadra the Dragon Scale and trades it, Seadra can evolve into a brand new Pokemon. So Brock agrees to help Ash evolve his Seadra. As the two trade, they trade back. As Ash sends out Seadra into a nearby body of water. As for the Seadra evolved into Kingdra. As then Ash rises to its Violet City Gym, where he battles Faulkner. As Ash has to get to a body of water near his newly evolved Kingdra, as Faulkner agrees to that. As Ash sends out Kingdra, as Faulkner sends out Hoot Hoot. As then Kingdra uses Ice Beam and eclipses Hoot Hoot's wing with ice. And then he can use Hydro Pump to knock out Hoot Hoot. As then Faulkner sends out Dodrio using a Tri-Attack. As Kingdra uses a new move it learned by evolving, being Dragon Pulse, which after a long battle, it leads to a double knockout. As then Ash sends out Charizard to fight Faulkner's Pidgeot, as Ash says, "Wow, I should have brought Fearow for this!" As then Charizard beats Pidgeot as in Cannon, and Ash gets the Zephyr badge. As he gets a call from Professor Oak saying that all the Water-type Pokemon are going crazy. So Ash decided to send Kingdra to help out. As it asked for Squirtle, so Oak sends Ash Squirtle in exchange. And for Kingdra. As then on the way to Azalea Town, Ash and Brock arrive at Charcific Valley. As Ash releases Charizard for training like in Cannon. As then Ash catches his Cannon Cyndaquil. As then the Slowpoke drought begins, as that goes the same. As Ash challenges Bugsy, and since it's a 3v3, Ash uses the same monsters as a Cannon, except Squirtle replaces Chikorita and Venusaur replaces Pikachu. As then Bugsy's on Spinnerack, as Ash sends out Cyndaquil. As Cyndaquil tries going for its flamethrower, but can't get its fire going. It has calls like Cyndaquil. And he's once again Cyndaquil trying to get going, as Ash sends in Squirtle. And he goes for a water gun. And this does some decent damage. As Spirit goes for a string shot, Ash commands Squirtle to spin its shell using water gun to knock out Spinnerack. And then Bugs uses the Metapod, where Squirtle uses the same strategy as Metapod. He uses Tackle to weaken Squirtle. But out of sheer determination, it starts to evolve into Wartortle. Now remember, this is not his canon Squirtle. See, I see it evolving. As he uses the Water Pulse to take out Metapod. As Bugs, he sends out Scyther, which knocks out Wartortle as Ash sends back in Cyndaquil. As it finally got its fire going. As Cyndaquil uses Flamethrower, managing to burn Scyther to a crisp. As then Ash gets a Hive Badge, bringing his badge count to 2. So Ash and Brock head to Goldenrod City to duo encounter a Totodile. And since there's no Misty, Ash catches it, bringing his team to 5. As then Ash runs into a shiny Noctowl and catches it, making his team 6. As then Ash and Brock arrive at Goldenrod City. As then Ash fights Whitney, as Whitney sends out Nidorina, as Ash sends out Totodile. As he uses Crunch, as then Nidorina goes for a double kick. As then Totodile goes for a powerful War Gun, mainly from its training as Wartortle, as the Nidorina goes down. As then Whitney sends out a Clefairy, as it goes for Metronome, unleashing Giga Impact, knocking out Totodile. As then Ash sends out Venusaur, as he uses Giga Drain, and as then it finishes off Clefairy with a Sludge Bomb. As then Whitney sends out her final Pokemon, Miltank. Ugh. As Miltank uses a powerful rollout. As luckily Venusaur catches it with Vine Whip in time. As then Venusaur uses a point-blank Solar Beam, knocking it out, allowing Ash to get his Plane Badge. As then Ash moves on to Equitude City, as he finds himself a new Haunter, and catches it, deciding to transfer his Wartortle back to Oak, to give his newer Pokemon the spotlight. As then Ash and Morty have their battle. As Ash decides to use Noctowl, Cyndaquil, and Haunter as to give Venusaur a break. As Morty sends in Ghastly as Ash sends in Noctowl. As Noctowl goes, as then Ghastly uses a Confuse Ray, as Noctowl goes for Foresight, which will allow Noctowl to see Ghastly. As Noctowl gets confused, as Ash calls it back, sending out Cyndaquil. As it goes for the Flamethrower, as it connects. As Ghastly goes for Nightshade, as then Cyndaquil goes for her Flamethrower, knocking it out. As then, Cyndaquil again has experience to evolve into Quilava. As then Morty sends out his own Haunter, as then Ash and Quilava go for an Eruption, which luckily connects, allowing Haunter to take major damage. As Haunter goes for a Shadow Ball, Quilava goes for a Flamethrower, which the moves would collide and explode, causing a double knockout. As Morty sends out Gengar, as Ash sends back in Noctowl. As the Noctowl uses a powerful Psychic attack, as Gengar takes some good damage. As Ash and Noctowl go for another Psychic, as that would knock out Gengar, allowing Ash to get his Fog Badge. As then Ash makes his way to Olivine City, as he finds out Jasmine isn't accepting challenges right now, because she's caring for her sick Ampharos. Ash has asked her to see Wind City for some medicine for her sick Ampharos. And then Hope World Cup arc happens, as Ash decides to bring back Kingdra for this. As then Ash will be with Misty again, as the two are drawn against each other in the tournament. As Ash decides to use Kingdra and Totodile. As Ash decides sending Kingdra against her Gyarados. As Kingdra wants revenge for what happened in the Indigo League. As two Water-type Titans clash. As Ash has Kingdra use Hydro Pump, as Gyarados uses Ice Fang. And then Outrage. So they major damage to Kingdra, as Kingdra gets knocked out. But it takes Gyarados down with it. With an Ice Beam. As Misty sends out her new Quagsire. As Ash sends out Totodile. As to clash, as with sheer determination, Totodile starts to glow as it evolves into Croconaw. To try and take the win. However, it's not enough, as Quagsire takes out the Earthquake afterward. That's where Ash versus Misty as well, as they will see each other in the Johto League. So Ash sends Kingdra back to Oak's lab, as then Ash and Brock arrive in Cianwood City. As Ash challenges the gym while Brock gets the medicine. As Ash challenges the gym, as he learns the battle will be a 2v2. As Chuck uses Poliwrath and Machoke. And since Ash does Bayleaf, he decides to use Noctowl and Venusaur. As Chuck sends out Poliwrath and Ash sends out Venusaur. As Venusaur uses Leech Seed, as then Venusaur gets ready to use Giga Drain, but Poliwrath uses Ice Punch. Dealing major damage. But luckily, Giga Drain restores the health. As then Poliwrath tries going for an Ice Punch, but Venusaur manages to knock it out in her Giga Drain. As Chuck sends out Machoke. As then Ash decides to use the same strategy, but Chuck was prepared for that. As Venusaur uses Vine Whip to try to restrain Machoke. And since Venusaur is stronger than Bayleaf, it works even better as in canon. As Venusaur slams it down, he uses a point-blank Sludge Bomb to knock it out. As Ash gets a Storm Badge. As then Ash and Brock head back to Olivine City to deliver the medicine. As they do. And Ampharos feels a lot better. As then Ash and Jasmine agree to have a battle. As it's a 2v2, as Ash tries to use Quilava and Heracross. As Ash sends out Heracross against Magnemite. As Ash has Heracross go for a Brick Break. As it connects, doing some good hits on Magnemite, as Magnemite goes for a Thunderbolt. As it manages to connect. As then Heracross is going for a close combat, as then Magnemite goes for a Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon combo. Basically trying to go for a double knockout, which happens. As Ash sends out Quilava, and Jasmine sends out Steelix. As their battle goes the same, but afterward, Quilava finally gets the experience needed to evolve into Typhlosion. As Ash gets his 6th badge. As then the race in Mahogany Town happens, as that goes the same, but the egg isn't going to be a Phanpy. It's going to be an Eevee instead. As he decides to transfer Haunter to Oak's lab. Room for his new Eevee. And then Ash challenges Price. But since Price can't use his Ace Piloswine, Ash slaughters his team with Typhlosion and Heracross, allowing Ash to get his 7th gym badge. As Ash and Brock make their way to Blackthorn City, aka a site of Ash's final Johto gym battle. As then Charizard returns as well, and he gets Kingdra in exchange for Heracross and Eevee. As they agree to have a 3v3. Ash uses Charizard, Kingdra, and Croconaw. As Claire uses her Kingdra, Gyarados, and Dragonair. As Claire sends out Gyarados, as Ash sends out Kingdra. And as Kingdra has a rather big history with Gyarados of any kind. Especially Misty's Gyarados. As Kingdra refuses to lose, as it goes for a Dragon Pulse. As Gyarados goes for Outrage. As the Kingdra does Smoke Screen. Basically a Poké version of Pocket Sand. as then Kanto goes for an Ice Beam, which connects, doing major damage as Gyarados goes for Crunch. I think Kanto uses a point-blank Dragon Pulse to the face to knock it out. Finally getting a win over a Gyarados, as Claire sends out her Kingdra, which would knock out Ash's Kingdra, but not after taking some good hits. As then Ash sends out Charizard, as it uses a new move it learned while training, being Dragon Claw, as that would knock out Kingdra. As then Claire sends out her last Pokemon, Dragonair, as the two clash, but Charizard gets knocked out, leaving Ash with just Croconaw. And let's just say, Croconaw, Dragonair just dominates Croconaw until, out of sheer determination, it begins to glow. It evolves into Feraligatr, as he uses Crunch and an Ice Fang to finish off Dragonair, giving Ash's final Johto badge, the Rising Badge. As in the whole Larvitar stuff, I was like canon, except Larvitar and its mother agree that it would be best if Ash took Larvitar with him, as that's giving Ash's final catch for this part. As an Ash is brought by the Silver Conference, where Ash brings back his old Pokemon to train. Aim for the league, which during this time, Kabuto evolves into Kabutops, or Kabutops, and Eve manages to evolve into Espeon, as a parallel to Gary's Umbreon. As Wartortle also evolves into Blastoise during the qualifying rounds. As that all goes the same, except Ash is going to face Misty in his block, since she beat Jackson in the preliminaries. As the battle will be a 3v3, as Ash uses Kingdra, Primeape, and Venusaur. And uses Gyarados, Quagsire, and Starmie. As Ash ends up Kingdra, as Misty uses Gyarados, as this match is personal for Kingdra, as it sees Gyarados as his rival. As then Gyarados uses Outrage, as Kingdra uses Dragon Pulse. As then Kingdra uses Ice Beam, and then uses Hydro Pump. As then Gyarados goes down. As Misty sends out Starmie, and uses Thunderbolt to knock out Kingdra. As Ash sends out Venusaur. As uses Giga Drain, and then Sludge Bomb. As Starmie uses Psychic, as Venusaur uses Solar Beam. As to clash, lead to a double knockout. As Ash sends out his last Pokemon, Primeape. And Misty sends out Quagsire. As it's not even a fair fight at this point, as Primeape just mauls Quagsire, winning Ash the match. As Misty wishes Ash good luck in the victory tournament, where his first match is against Gary. As Gary is the same team as in canon. Excuse me. As Ash uses Venusaur, Scyther, Charizard, Feraligatr, Snorlax, and Primeape. As Gary sends out Nidoqueen, as Ash sends out Feraligatr. As to the Pokemon Clash, while Nidoqueen goes for an Earth Power. Feraligatr goes for Surf, and while Feraligatr is riding the Surf, it's charging up an Ice Fang, as both moves connect, leaving Nidoqueen on the brink of fainting, as Gary calls it back, as he then sends out Scizor. As he uses Bullet Punch and Bug Buzz to knock out Feraligatr. As Ash sends out Scyther, as Gary asks, as Ash, "So Ashy boy, why didn't you evolve your Scyther?" As Ash says, "Scyther wants to beat you without evolving." As Gary says, "If that works out for you, I'll help you evolve it after this battle." As Ash and Scyther agree to that, as Scyther is using superior speed with Blitz Scizor, as he uses Bug Buzz. And since Feraligatr did some decent damage on Scizor, this would be enough to knock out Scizor, bring Gary down to 5. As Gary is rather surprised that Scyther could win without evolving. And then Gary sends out Magmar, and uses Fire Blast, dealing a massive amount of damage. As Scyther stands back up, not wanting to lose, and he uses Night Slash, dealing some good hits on Magmar. But it doesn't last long, as Magmar goes for Flamethrower, knocking out Scyther. As Ash sends out Primeape. And that's not even a fair fight, as Primeape just mauls Magmar, as Gary sends back in Nidoqueen. But Gary would come to regret that decision, as Primeape mauls Nidoqueen, leaving Gary with just 3, while Ash still has 4. As Gary sends in Blastoise, as he finishes off Primeape. As then Ash sends in Venusaur, as Venusaur wants to win against Blastoise. As it goes for Sludge Bomb, as Blastoise goes for Ice Punch. As then it connects. As then the two starters clash. As in a clash, ends with Blastoise using Hydro Pump and Venusaur using Solar Beam. As it ends in a double knockout. As Gary sends out Golem and Ash sends out Charizard. As two Pokemon clash. As Charizard uses Seismic Toss and Golem goes for Rock Slide. Remember, Charizard goes for Dragon Rage, as then he goes for Dragon Claw. As knocks out Golem. But because the Golem's Rock Slide, Charizard now has an injured wing. As Ash calls back to his Pokeball, as Ash sends out Snorlax, as Gary sends out his last Pokemon, Arcanine. As Snorlax uses Earthquake, as Arcanine has Snorlax in the Ring of Fire. As Snorlax goes for Hyper Beam, allowing to finish Arcanine and win the battle. As Ash moves on to the quarterfinals. As he fights Harrison in his powerful Blaziken. But because of Charizard's injury, it won't be in this battle. So Ash tries to fight Charizard with Typhlosion. Before that, Gary congratulates Ash on winning, and in Johto, he's a lot nicer than he was in Kanto. As Gary helps Scyther evolve. Ash fights for this battle, he's going to use Venusaur, Feraligatr, Snorlax, Rhydon, Espeon, and Typhlosion. As Harrison uses the same teams in canon. As Harrison sends out Kecleon, as Ash sends out Venusaur. As it opens the battle with a Sludge Bomb. As it uses Vine Whip, grabbing Kecleon, slamming it Hulk style, dealing some major damage. As Kecleon grabs Venusaur with its tongue, but that doesn't work in Kecleon's favor, as Venusaur knocks it out. As Harrison sends out Sneasel, as Ash, being smart for once, swaps out Venusaur for Feraligatr, as it's an even easier fighting camp for the Water Croc. As Harrison sends out Hypno, as it still knocks out Feraligatr. As then Ash sends out Snorlax, as that goes the same. As Harrison sends out Steelix, as Ash decides to give Snorlax a break. As he switches out for Typhlosion. As Harrison asks, wow, Typhlosion? Why not Charizard? So Ash tells Harrison about Charizard's injury. Ash doesn't want to make it worse. As Ash has Typhlosion use Flamethrower as it connects. And Steelix uses Iron Tail and Bind. Makes me Typhlosion go blue in the face. As he uses its fire to break free, as it knocks out Steelix with a point-blank Fire Blast. As Harrison still has 2 Pokemon left, while Ash still has 5. As he sends out Houndoom, as he finishes out the weakened Typhlosion. As Ash sends out Snorlax, as it goes for Hyper Beam, which does some good damage, but then Houndoom uses Counter, blasting the Hyper Beam back at him. As takes Snorlax down with him, bringing Ash down to 3. As Ash sends out Rhydon, as uses Earthquake to deal some major damage. As then Houndoom goes down, leaving Harrison with Chest Blaziken. And Ash with Rhydon, Espeon, and Venusaur. As in Ash has Rhydon go from an Earthquake, as Harrison is Blaze King's close combat. And then finish it with Blaze Kick to knock out Rhydon, bring Ash down to 2. So Ash and a Venusaur. And next goes like Blaze Kick versus Bayleaf like in canon. But Venusaur's lands good hits on Blaze as well. With the Earthquake from Rhydon. As well as a 1v1 between Harrison's Blaziken and Ash's Espeon. As Ash ends it out as it uses Psychic, which does major damage. As Blaziken manages to beat it down, leading to what seems to be a double knockout. But Espeon fell first by a split second. So Harrison advances to the semifinals. Sorry, I got something in my throat. And tries John Dixon, as that goes the same, as Harrison can't use Blaziken. So, Harrison visits Ash asking about Charizard. As luckily Charizard's wing is healed, so he can head back to Charizard Valley for more training. As Ash and Brock head on back to Kanto, as Harris recommended Ash to go to Hoenn. As he does. And he tries to leave all his Pokemon at Oak's lab except Venusaur. As next time, we'll be covering Ash's adventures through Hoenn. So be sure to like and subscribe for that, and I'll catch you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace!